we're talking about rate and ratio, we're really essentially talking about the same thing. Rate, ratio, percentage, they all fit into a proportional relationship. So if we have a problem in a rate, we can all put it into a ratio, and we can then divide to get the unit rate. So here it says that Jason can buy 20 Pokemon cards for $3.80. So first of all, we just need to make sure that we know the direction of comparison. So it says, what is the ratio of cards to dollars? So cards to dollars is going to be 20 cards to $3.80. And we can write this in a fraction form, 20 cards compared to $3.80. To calculate the unit rate, we divide. So when we divide these two numbers, get your calculator out. So 20 divided by 3.80, I end up with 5.263, so I'm going to round that to 26. Now what is the rate? It's important to be able to state the rate and in the right order. This is $5.26 cards are on top per $1. So cards per dollar. So I get that many cards for $1. We can flip that around as well and find out the dollars per card. So if I wanted to do that, I can do $1 divided by 5.26 cards, and I end up with about 19 cents per card. Okay, so this is a separate problem, but these rates are the same. It's just the opposite direction. So it's important to know the direction of your comparison. Density is a rate. Density is a rate that compares grams to volume. So I have here a problem where I have 120 grams of gold and I need to figure out what is the volume that 120 grams of gold occupies. So I'm going to write my comparison, and I can do it either way, but I'm going to put the volume on the bottom and grams on the top. You may want to put the grams on the bottom and volume on the top. It's up to you. Here I have my rate. This is a unit rate, so my unit rate is my multiplier, and that's my multiplier going from bottom to top. I need to figure out from top to bottom. So instead of multiplying, I have to do the opposite. I need to divide by that same factor. And when I do that, I get 120 grams divided by 19.3, and this happens to be grams per milliliter. Grams divided by grams cancels out, and I end up with 120 divided by 19.3 gives me 6.22 milliliters of volume. Okay, so this is, we can just use a proportional equation to this. Now, we want to start using something called rate analysis. And to do that, what we want to do is, this is our problem. We have 120 grams. My rate is grams to milliliters. 19.3 grams to milliliters. When I do rate analysis, I need to get rid of the grams, and I need to end up with milliliters as my answer. Well, to get rid of grams, that's a times by grams. To get rid of times by grams, I need to put the grams in the rate in the denominator. And that allows the grams units to cancel out. And when I do that, I'm left with milliliters. So this is what happens. These cancel out, times, divide, times on top, divide on bottom. So I'm going to do 120 times 1 divided by 19.3. And notice that it ends up dividing by 19.3, just like I had here. but it naturally puts the divide on the bottom if we understand how these rates cancel out. And so my answer works out to be 6.22, and the units, notice the units left over are milliliters, so my answer is in milliliters. For equation solving, we want to undo the calculation. So the only rule for equations is balance. And to keep things balanced, what we do to one side, we do exactly the same to the other side. That's really the only rule. The goal is to get x by itself. So we want to undo this calculation by getting rid of a minus 1. And we can get rid of a minus 1 with an opposite plus 1. But we have to balance. We have to keep everything balanced, so we do plus 1 on both sides. And I can see my work vertically again. I can see all the pieces coming down vertically, and I need to maintain my balance. I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3. I end up with x is equal to 3. And I can check my answer by substituting back in. 3 times 3 minus 1 equals 8. That is correct. When I have minuses in here, you have to be careful with your minuses. I'm going to take away 1, take away 1. I'm left with negative x. Okay, so remember that x is a minus x, so what's left over is a negative x equals negative 6. I can say that x is equal to 6. I can also get rid of that negative by dividing by negatives on both sides. Negative divided by negative cancels out. And I can see that, yeah, my answer is x equals 6. When I have brackets, it's a good idea to distribute out the brackets first, okay? Because we cannot add these together. They're not like terms, so we can't do bedmass here. So to get around bedmass, we can distribute out the brackets. So we have 2 groups of x minus 2 groups of 1, means I'm subtracting 2. I have a plus 1. I make sure I bring everything down from the equation so that I can see that I keep my balance. It's always a good idea to combine like terms whenever you can. So negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Please do not do 2 plus 1. Okay, this is negative 2 plus positive 1. I want to get rid of the minus 1 because I want to get x by itself. I end up with 2x's equals 8. Divide both sides. I'm left with x equals 4. You can check it again. 4 minus 1 is 3, times 2 is 6, plus 1 equals 7. That looks good. Here we have to be really careful with this minus, because when we distribute, we have to make sure we distribute with the minus. The other thing is we cannot group this together. We do not do 5 minus 2. This is 5 ones minus 2 groups of, yeah, we'd have to, that's counting something different than the 5. The other thing is we have to do multiplication before subtraction. So there's lots of reasons not to do that together. So I need to make sure that I keep track of that 5 so I don't lose that 5. And when I multiply, I'm just going to multiply with that negative because I'm going to subtract 2 groups of 3x, which is subtracting 6x's. I'm going to subtract 2 groups of 1. That means I'm subtracting 1. So if I distribute with the negatives, I keep track of my signs better. On this side, I have 7x minus 8. Combine my like terms. 1's here, so this is 5 minus 2 is 3 1's minus 6x's equals 7x's minus 8. I don't want a negative x, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the x's on the right hand side and I'm going to get rid of the numbers on this side and put them on this side. So to do that, I'm going to undo the minus 6x with a plus 6x on both sides. I'm going to undo the minus 8 with a plus 8 on both sides. Okay, keep track of everything. There's a 0 pair. 0 pairs, so that all cancels out. 3 plus 8 is 11. 7 plus 6 is 13. And I'm counting x's. To solve, I need to undo the times 13 by dividing by 13. So my answer is x equals 11 over 13. It's better to leave it as a fraction. I prefer the fraction rather than you working out the decimal for that.